Hey everyone. This is my first time to go live on YouTube and this is exciting. Uh I'm not expecting anybody to join because um I haven't done this before and I didn't announce it and I just jumped on because I want to start doing this. So the reason that I haven't made any videos in the last month, over a month now, is because I got divorced. So I want to say that first, just because if you've been wait, I only have about 100 subscribers. This is my new channel because you know, got Shadow, you know what, Banned over on the other channel, so which I'd had for years. So nobody was seeing me. So this is my new channel. So go ahead and subscribe to this one. Um, Literally in the last month, I got served and I got divorced. That is a longer story, which I will tell. I'm also gonna be doing a Give, Send, Go because I have to look for a place to live. But the good news is I've got primary custody of my 2 kids, so yay. Um, I'm excited. I'm excited because you know what? You know what I'm most excited about? Number 1, my kids, but number 2, my what's second most excited about is that, this video is gonna be about, the Trump announcement, and what's happening and what I think is coming because I don't think people are seeing the chess moves. But I wanted to first just get the out of the way that, what I've been going through and why I haven't been posting because I really wanted to. In fact, I wanted to this whole time. So what I'm secondly most excited about after being able to move out with the kids, even though it's going to be really difficult financially, um, I did not get a good deal. Not surprised. I am so excited to be able to speak the truth. Speak the truth. I started talking about my support of Trump back in 2020. Sorry, 2016. I voted for him twice. And in 2016, after having been a liberal Democrat for 30 years, I woke up. I did a lot of research. I really, really, really researched. And I had been researching for a long time. Prior to that, I really started researching back in 2006 when I woke up to a lot of things. But it's like the peeling of the onion, right? You got to peel off the layers. Anyway, I made a lot of notes to talk about today. But please, if you're interested in my content, please go subscribe. Subscribe to this channel. You can go to annemariemichaels.com, which is my blog, and you can sign up for free email updates. And I'll be announcing my GiveSendGo, which I'm going to be running for the next month or two to help me raise funds so that I can write my first book. I've got 2 books that I'm going to be writing. The first book is going to be about health and how to recover from and lots of things, lots of things that people are sick with now. The pharmakia, that what is a Bible scripture of, the sorcery, they will deceive the nations, and that's what's happened. But we have the ways to overcome it. We really do. And so that's what the first book's going to be about. I have a working title: Metals, Microbes, and Mindset. I don't know if that title will stick, but we'll see. That's what I'm writing about, and it's going to be great. And the second book is going to be all about my experience of living through this whole last few years. And I think that book's going to be a lot of fun too. So I'm excited. I do need help because I haven't been able to work. What happened was in 2016, when I really came out in favor of Trump, I lost most of my friends and family, a lot of them. Not all, but then when I got censored, I really lost a lot more because I couldn't find people anymore. I've been called crazy. I've been called a conspiracy theorist. I've been called all the things, which is fine because I know that I'm not. I know that I'm right. I know that we're right. And it's going to all come out. So anyway, really exciting news, just breaking news today about what's happening with Congress. So I'm going to share that first, and then I'm going to talk about the announcement the other night and what I think is going to happen. So again, we don't know. Nobody knows. We can only guess. but lots of exciting things. So let me, gosh, I don't know even if I can share my screen. I usually do this on, this is YouTube Live. I usually do this on Zoom, and so I'm gonna have to just wing it because I can't. I'll just put the links down below. So the things I'm talking about, I'm just gonna put the links down below and you can see. But again, go AnnMarieMichaels.com, follow me for the updates. There also, you can go on the follow link on my blog and find all the places where you're on social media. I'll tell you right now, the places I'm the most active. And by the way, I'm gonna start making videos every single day, probably around 10 a.m. Well, I don't want to compete with Nino Rodriguez. I love him. So I'm gonna find. I can't remember when he posts, but I'll post like either right before him, right after. Um, just because I don't want to compete with him. I like to watch him too. He is awesome because he stayed on YouTube this whole time. And again, I just started my account, but I feel like this is my beginning. In 2016, that's when I wanted to come out. I created a blog called Recovering Democrat. I went to CPAC. I got to go sit in the um, press pit to see Trump speak. That was amazing, amazing experience. And yeah, my husband told me he didn't want me talking about this. He didn't want me posting about it. Um, so I didn't, and I stopped. And then in 2020, I started up again, and he told me to stop. On and on, it just kept happening. And so, you know what? He can't tell me what to do anymore. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. All right, so let's talk about what's happening with Congress first. So, the Republicans just took control of the House. This is huge. We will also take control of, and I call myself a Republican now, even though I was a Democrat for 30 years. Um, I think there's probably going to be a new party because I think the enemy has infiltrated both sides. You know, we've had all these, you know, deep state uh, infiltrators for decades now, and they've been bad on both sides, right? They've been bad on both sides. So I think that's what people are going to realize is that it's not it's not red versus blue. It's not, liberal versus conservative. It's really us, the deep state versus us. And we're rising up and joining forces now. And that's what I'm so excited about. Okay, so Congress, though, so here's the deal. Eh, You have a majority now in Congress of Trump endorsed MAGA Republicans. I don't know what all I can say on YouTube. I'm hopefully treading here, not to say the things I'm not supposed to say. So whatever. I'm going to post all these videos on Rumble too. So make sure you go to my follow link, which is on AnnMarieMichaels.com, and I'll put it below. And go follow me on Rumble, just in case these videos get taken down or get censored. So all right, what is happening is they made an announcement this morning, and I'll put a link below about the fact that they are going to investigate this. Um, Hunter and Joe and their business dealings, and they actually said in the press conference, which I just watched a clip of, and you just go on Google, type in um, investigation, and you can watch the press conference. It is really, really exciting because what they said was international human, and I don't want to say the word, but I'll say what happens when there's a lot of cars on the road, right? I don't want to say the word because I don't want them to. I just don't know what I can say and what I can't say. But what we've been talking about the whole time, which everybody said was a conspiracy theory. They said, "Oh, that's not really happening." An international ring of human, you know what? TRAFFIC. Well, turns out that's what they're investigating. And guess what? Go look up Executive Order 13818, signed by President Trump in December 2017. It's still on the books. Still on the books. What does that executive order say? It says that we have the right to seize the property and the assets of anyone involved in human, you know what? And if if they're involved in that or any serious human rights abuses. Well, we can think of some besides the human trafficking. We can think of some other human rights abuses like this, mandating this. Huge. It's coming, guys. This is all coming. And as Derek Johnson just posted on Facebook, you know, Mr. B could have shut down the spa, Gitmo, anytime. Why didn't he? Why didn't he shut it down? And why did they create a whole new courtroom there? The tribunals are coming. They're coming next year. And it's interesting because they always said 23 meant pain, right? The tribunals are coming next year. So they go look that up, go see what they're doing. What I was going to talk about before I just literally this just happened before I jumped on here. And what I was going to talk about though was the announcement. So let's talk a little bit about that. I'm going to keep this video short, but just so you know, I am going to be moving. I have to move before January, so that's going to be Christmas. Through Christmas is going to be packing and moving, but with my kids. But I'm going to be making videos as much as I can, ideally every weekday morning. So because there's going to be so much news coming out. And yes, we're going to get back to recipes. We're going to get back to healthy living. We're going to get back to all that. But guys, this is the most exciting time in history, in human history. And that's why I've been wanting to talk about it this whole time. And I just got censored. Not even by big tech, which yes happened, but my own husband, my own family. But not anymore. So exciting times. All right. The announcement that he made, everybody, I heard a lot of chatter yesterday, just people being disappointed, feeling like they were wanting him to make a different announcement. And Praying Medic said a really good thing. He said, that announcement wasn't for us. That announcement wasn't for us. Okay. It wasn't like, oh, he's going to announce something big, the military stepping in or something. No, that announcement was for normies, right? That was for the people that are still, the people who, because it reached the mainstream media. And so that announcement was to make people go, oh, wait a minute, this guy that we all have been told to hate, he's coming back. That's what that announcement was. Okay. And what I think will happen next is some sort of, well, again, I can't say this word, but maybe an ARRE and then an ST of Mr. T. Now, if that were to happen, and we've been hearing that would happen, and we heard that maybe it would happen before the midterm, but what if it happened in this next week or two? What if it did? Maybe sometime soon, right? I think it would happen. If it did happen, it would happen sometime soon. Why would that happen? What would be the purpose for that? Well, I think the purpose for that would be that he wouldn't be able to talk to us. Some kind of gag order. He wouldn't be able to be accused, right? He wouldn't be able to, if the military did step in at that point, around that point, which we know things are going to get hairy. Like we know things are going to get more and more, we look what's happening. Like, look what happened when he made his announcement. And we saw, what's going on in the middle I don't want to say words because I don't want to, trigger anything, but, certain countries fighting. Okay. That's going to continue. And that kind of FF stuff going on, whether it's wag the dog or whatever, we don't know. It's going to continue. And what he doesn't want, what we don't want is for them to accuse him or blame him, which is what they're going to do. Right. So if he gets, then they can't really blame him. Number one. Number two, it makes him more of a martyr. okay? It's which is actually a good thing if you think about it. It makes him more people are gonna love him even more. Look at every single movie you ever watch, right? From Star Wars to Harry Potter, they always start out having you empathize with the main character, right? Look at Luke Skywalker's whole, um, home with his parents. The only parents he has, which are his adopted parents, are killed. The war is happening, and he's like, "Oh, now I'm gonna go fight the war because I have nothing else." And you feel empathy for him. Harry Potter, living under the stairs. He loses his family. So if something like this happens, it's only gonna make him stronger, and there's a reason for it, these reasons I'm saying. So that could very well happen. I kind of think that it kinda has to happen. The other reason I think it'll happen is because, their little silly committee that they have, um, they said that he had to have the subpoena he was subpoenaed, and they said they had to have, stuff to them, whatever the documents they were asking for, by November 14th, and then he made his announcement on November 15th, so that's interesting. That's very interesting. I think they have reason that they could use to go after him, um, and it's gonna backfire on them. It's gonna backfire on them. So if it happens, fine. It's just gonna work in our favor, okay? Um, Now, here's what I think will happen next. Um, the other thing people mentioned is that he didn't give a year. So when I said in the subject line of this video, 2023. So you see Vincent Kennedy. If you don't know who Vincent Kennedy is, you can go watch him, follow him on the various channels. I think he's on Truth Social. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Where am I most frequently posting? Usually Facebook, which I think my Facebook is on my follow page. I'll go look, but it's Anna Maria Michelle. It's not my real name because I had gotten taken off there for a while, and so I'm back. I have a private page. Actually, I do have a Facebook page on there. You can go follow me on my Facebook page. I post on there frequently. I post on Telegram. I post on Truth Social. I am on Twitter again, although I don't have my main Twitter account. That's mainly it. I post only on Getter occasionally. And I'm gonna get back on TikTok. I'm gonna be on TikTok every day. So that's gonna be I'll be pretty active on TikTok and then on here as long as I can stay on here and Rumble. Okay, so um I think that people said well, he didn't say what year. So if you follow Vincent Kennedy, that's what he's talking about. Trump 2023. What does that mean? Well, I'm gonna get into it, but let me walk you through first what I think could potentially happen with the House and the Senate, and then we'll talk about these chess moves that could potentially lead him back to the presidency by 2023. Um, and but it's not just that. There's also something called the Organic Act of 1871. So we'll talk about that as well. All right, I'm just going to cut to the chase here. We have a lot of things that need to be fixed. We have a lot of laws in place that are not at all constitutional. One of the things that somebody needs to fix all this. He did a lot when he was in office as POTUS, but there's a lot that needs to be fixed in terms of um, the laws. Now, there's some things that are going to happen with the Supreme Court, and what is the name of the one? Moore versus something. It's the one where only local governments can decide information about elections. Moore versus Harper, I think, is the name of it. Ooh, my memory's coming back. It's gonna take a while. I'm pretty traumatized lately, but over time, my memory's coming back. Moore versus Harper. Look that up. So that the Supreme Court we know is going to see that. They're going to look at that this year. They're going to decide on Moore versus Harper. Now, what that would do is make it so that the federal government can't make decisions about our local elections. What we want is what the government, which is really interesting. Trump's announcement was on November 15th, and November 15th of 18, oh gosh, which year was it? I don't remember the year, but it was November 15th, and it was uh, the Articles of Confederation, and that's when they were signed. So that was our first constitution, and that's before. So you remember the movie and or sorry, the play, the Broadway play Hamilton, so popular. Those guys, that was all about, the beginning of the Federal Reserve, the beginning of federalizing everything, turning everything into this behemoth. Um, behemoth is the word, which took over our lives. We are basically like Gulliver's Travel, just tied down by all these strings. We are actually the government is for us, for the people, by the people, and yet we're tied down by so many strings, by the IRS, by the all these three-letter agencies. We can barely do anything anymore. We barely have any rights because as soon as we start to get a little successful, they come after us. As soon as we do something they don't like, they come after us. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is not what our founding fathers had in mind at all. So you guys know this. Um, anyway, that was the date that we had our very first constitution. So it's very, very, very cool that he had his announcement on the 15th. So go look that up. That's what we want to go back to. That's the constitutional republic that our founding fathers actually created. Which this is the most amazing thing in all of human history. If you look back and you read about the Magna Carta, which gave rights to the common man to be able to have private property. That's what our Constitution is based on. And actually, there's so much more to talk about, which I'm going to talk about later in a future video about Catholic natural law. This goes back to Christians. This goes back. Well, it also goes back to our ancestors, which were Jewish, the Israelites, and the Ten Commandments. All of this stuff um, is what our Constitution is based on, and that's what our government is based on. And we are supposed to be ruling ourselves. Okay, that's our God-given right. That's our God-given right. And so they have usurped that. They have taken over. And my cat. Every time I make a video, my cat starts crying. So anyway, there's a lot more to talk about this. I have so much to say about it, so I'm glad that I can speak my mind again finally. Finally. So I'm excited. And don't feel sorry for me about what I'm going through right now. Yes, it's tough. Yes, I'm having a hard time. But it's going to be worth it. It's so worth it because I can speak freely finally, because it's final. I can say what I want now. Okay. So constitutional republic, what is that? It's a republic based on the Constitution. That's what it is. It's our government that is based on the Constitution. So that's what right there tells you that Democrats, the whole word Democrat is a fraud. It's a fraud. What is a democracy? Majority rules. That's how they took us over. They just keep infiltrating and taking over all the things that control us. Suddenly you get 40% of your income taxed. How did that happen? They were fighting over tea. How do we now suddenly have to give 40% of our income? That's insanity. That's insanity. There's no excuse for that whatsoever. None. It's absolutely theft. It's absolutely theft. And so that's going to go away, but that's a whole nother. We'll get into that. Okay. So Democrats want majority rule. Constitutional Republicans, which is Republicans, yes, we've been infiltrated by rhinos, but fundamentally Republicans are the real deal. Okay. So one of the things he said in the announcement, let me hit on these points here, is that Nancy is gone. She's been fired and she went to another country. What does he mean by that? Well, I don't know. Is it the spa? Maybe. If you guys don't know what the spa is, go look up the slang for the spa. I don't want to say it. I said it earlier, but I don't want to say it again. Who's gonna replace Nancy is a big question. You remember when she was ripping that piece of paper, his speech, right? And somebody's gonna replace her. Who's it gonna be? Um, I think very likely, very possibly it could be Mr. T could replace her, and I think that would be just epic. That would be epic, right? I mean, buy more popcorn. Um, so why do I think it would be him? Well, like I said, there's a lot of laws that need to be changed. We are going to see some things go through the Supreme Court, and I want to show you one before I finish. I'll show you one that just popped up yesterday. That just got. They're going to. The Supreme Court is going to hear this particular case, so it's a very interesting one. A guy out of Utah, but the one we did know about was Moore versus Harper, and so go look that up and you can read about Moore versus Harper and elections and how that's going to change everything. Um, the deal is we need to have control over our school boards. We need to have control over our city councils. We need to have control over all these things, and we don't. We don't. I mean, what I saw in our local, you know, I don't want to say the word, but what happened locally here was an, a poop. I'll say a poop show. I don't want to say a bad word, but um, yeah, it was just ridiculous how much dark money was involved in our local school board. It wasn't right. It wasn't fair. We got we got reamed. We got reamed. We did not get the people that we wanted, that we the people wanted. So a lot of laws need to be in place. And so some of them are going to get turned around by the Supreme Court, but a lot of them are we're going to create bills. And so the way it works, you've got the president, which is the executive branch. You've got Congress, which is the so you've got Congress and the Senate. Okay, those are the three branches, and there's checks and balances, and that's the way that it works. Where this is what we learned in elementary school. Um, you can never have one branch that's going to take over everything. You have branches that have checks and balances. So that way, that's the way they designed it so that you don't have a tyrant taking over. Well, so so the Congress writes the bills and then the Senate passes the bills, right? And then you have the president. So that's how it's supposed to work. A three-legged stool, really. It's very stable. Problem is that, well, there's so many problems. The dark money that we have um, in the process of electing people, um, the lobbyists. Oh my gosh, so many issues. Matt Gaetz was just on Twitter the other day, or wherever he's posting on his social media. Go back a couple days, and he was talking on a video saying all the things they're going to change starting in January when they got control of the House, which they just did yesterday. Okay, so he was saying we're going to change this, we're going to change that. These things shouldn't be here. They have so much to fix. Okay. Now, is there someone that could be the Speaker of the House that could be good, like Jim Jordan or somebody like that? Yeah, maybe. Um, Now we saw that Kevin McCarthy is running. He's put his hat in the ring. Is it going to be him? I definitely not. Definitely not. He won the first little thing, but definitely not. Why? Because he's a rhino. And we know he's done a lot of dirty stuff. You can research that yourself. I'm not going to get into it here. But yeah, he's a rhino. That's not going to happen. There's a majority of Trump endorsed Congress people. So they're not going to go with him. Okay? And I know there's a plan in place, and I think very likely it is Mr. T, Trump. That's going to be the person that they have as speaker. Now, why? Why is that important? Well, not only would we see a lot of things get fixed in terms of these unconstitutional laws, so many, so many. Um, we would fix the election process. That's what Gates was just talking about. I'll try to link to that below. I'll try to put some links down below to some of the things I'm talking about, like Gates. Um, I think I posted it on my Telegram the other day, maybe. Um, anyway, he was like, January 3rd, we start. We're getting busy, da da da, right? Um, we know that what happened with the Capitol in January, you know, there's huge unconstitutional injustices that are happening to the people involved with that. Just unbelievable. And I will talk about that briefly in a second because that has to do with the Supreme Court um, case that is going to be heard. That was just announced that's going to be heard. The guy out of Utah. So, but yeah, if he were Speaker of the House, uh, you think they would get work done, but that's not all. That's not all. There people are saying, like, he could be an interim president in that role. Now, I don't remember if it was Taft or Polk. There was one president who was, Speaker of the House and president at the same time. Why do I think he could potentially, uh, become president? So again, Vincent Kennedy was talking about 2023. He was talking more about, and I saw Linwood talking about it too. He's talking more about the Organic Act of 1871. So go look that up. And what that is that's what established Washington, D.C., which is an illegal, it's not part of the US, just like Federal Reserve is not part of our government, never has been. It is an outsider with having control over us, just like the Brits were, during the American Revolution. They're not part of our government. So we do know that in March of 2020, Trump merged the Federal Reserve and the Treasury. And we do know that we need to bankrupt this fake government agency, right? The Fed. It needs to be taken out. But there's whole process to this. So if he were, let's go back to this. If he were going to take over Nancy's role, a lot of this stuff would get cleaned up very quickly. And now let's think about it. Do you think they might want to impeach Mr. B? You think they're already starting the probe? So that's what was just announced today. They're starting a probe into Hunter and Biden's business dealings. And they specifically mentioned trafficking. Well, 13818. 13818. If they get into that, which they are, he's going to be impeached. There's no doubt. Well, who would be better to impeach him as Speaker of the House than DJT? I think it would be brilliant. Because it's not just like, this is a movie, right? This is the greatest story ever told, and it's gonna be rolled out in a beautiful way. We're gonna enjoy a lot of popcorn, okay? So I think very likely it could be. Now, what happens if he gets impeached, right? If he gets impeached, they have to have a president, so it would go to the VP. Well, we know that, of course, the fact checkers will say this is not true, but we do know that Mrs. Which we call her Camel Toe. Camel Toe is not even a natural born citizen, right? Why? Because her parents were not legal immigrants; they were illegal immigrants. And yeah, she was born in the country, but there's a birth, I think it's called birthright or something. I forget. I don't want to use the specific term that people call it because it might be a trigger. But it's an anchor and it's a infant. And I'll use the word infant instead of the B word. That term, people get really triggered about it. But it is where people can come into the United States of America, literally 9 months pregnant, have a baby, and then that baby, and that person is illegal. They can just step over, right? Or come in for vacation or whatever. And that baby then is a natural born citizen, which is not true. I mean, come on. Like, that's ridiculous. Well, that's what they did. That's what I think that's been in place since the 50s or something, and that's what they've been doing ever since. But it's not a real American citizen. My parents grew up here, their parents grew up here, their parents grew up here. Like, I have, um, legal immigrants in my ancestry who came over legally, but I was born in the United States of America on the 4th of July, no less. Very proud of that fact. Don't think it's a coincidence. But, you know, what gives somebody all the rights that we have as American citizens just because their parents happen to be here and they came illegally, they didn't even go through the process, and then they have a baby. Should that baby be automatic immigrant? I mean, automatic citizen? No, absolutely not. Okay. By the way, I turned the comments off just because I don't know what I'm doing on live yet, but I'll start having, I will have a chat room eventually. I'm gonna have to get help because I can't. I'm scared of I'm scared of the chat room because it'll distract me. I'm just trying to. You guys need to be patient with me because I'm just getting started doing this. All right, so that's what she really is. Now they're going to overturn that. They're going to change that. They're going to draft legislation to end that because it's not fair. It's not fair for people to be doing that, and they've been taking advantage of it for decades. So if that happens, and um, if she is no longer able to be VP, she's out. She's out. Okay. But she doesn't even have to be impeached. She's just out. So if that happens, who's third in line for the presidency? That's right, Speaker of the House. And so that's why another reason why I think that's a great chess move. You're just like, boom. Now you got the king, right? Checkmate. I think it makes perfect sense. So then he would be Speaker of the House and he would be an interim president. Now, and then he's running in 2020. Well, he could run for 2024 and be president even prior to that, in 2023. So that's why I'm saying Trump 2023. There's another thing, and that's about the Organic Act of 1871. So I'll talk about it in a second, but I want to make sure I cover these. He has a majority in the House already of all the people that's what he was doing when he was in office. Think about it. He was endorsing all of these people for Congress and Senate. Now they're all in. So they are going to defend him. Okay. These are real MAGA Republicans. They're going to defend him and they are going to, if you don't know how people say, well, how could he become Speaker of the House? Well, anyone can. Go look it up. You don't have to be in Congress to get voted in as Speaker of the House. Anybody can. So I think this is a very strong possibility. Okay, so they're going to change a lot of laws. That has to happen. The Senate, I do believe we're going to take the Senate. And when that happens, the laws will get written, the laws will get passed, the laws will get written, the laws will get passed. There'll be none of this BS with, everything getting stalled. It's been a monkey house, for decades upon decades upon decades. Like, what's been going on has just been insane. And you guys know it. So they got a clean house. All right. So if that happens, we're going to see major, major changes very soon. And we're not going to have to wait till 2024. We can't. He said that in his speech. He said we can't wait until 2024. What's my time? 39 minutes. Okay, so I've still got a little bit of time to cover these other things. All right. There is a really good video that I will link to below from James Grunvig. If you guys don't watch American Media Periscope on Rumble, highly recommend. James Grunvig is one of my favorite investigative journalists. He's one of the best out there. They also have Gene Ho now. If you haven't heard of Gene Ho, go watch his show. He's awesome. The new editor-in-chief for George magazine. Very exciting. John F. Kennedy. John John's magazine that came out in the 90s. I remember reading that when I was in college. I wish I'd saved it, but okay. So I think that's very possible. Let's talk about 1871. So 1871, they had the Organic Act of 1871. Go ahead and type that into your Google machine and look it up. What it had to do with was creating DC. We know DC is corrupt. We know it's not part of our country, and they don't follow our laws. They don't follow our Constitution. So that when that passed, they're saying, there's a lot of information out there that our government became a corporation, and that we now are living under this corporation. Well, it has been rumored that it was dissolved and by DJT, and that if that did happen, then we're going back to the constitutional republic. That makes a lot of sense to me. Now, they said that the last um, president that we had under the republic was Ulysses S. Grant. I'm looking at my notes if you wonder what I'm doing. And that would mean that DJT would not be the 46th president, but the 19th. So whether or not that's true, I don't know. You should look it up. Again, I posted some things on my Telegram the last few days about that. Linwood was talking about it. Vincent Kennedy was talking about it. So, okay. What else did I want to cover? I want to cover, I talked about the Fed, merging the Fed. I talked about the executive orders. The other executive orders, 13848. Make sure you go look that up. That has to do with the E. I don't want to use the F word, election F word, right? If that, if there's any kind of foreign interference in our E, then we would seize the assets of any individual or corporation. So that's 13848, which is still on the books, and Biden actually he actually extended it twice. All right. So I think that if go back to this, if he gets a RREST, if that happens, I think it might create unrest. And if that happened, that would be a reason why, plus all the other unrest that we're seeing in the world. And if some stuff starts to come out about the treason with these guys, the big guy, their business dealings, I could see how the military would have to step in, and we would have martial law. And I do think that's what's going to happen. I do think there's no other way. The other reason why it's important that Mr. T would be in the role of Speaker of the House, there are that, like I talked about, the chess move to the path to presidency early versus waiting to 2024, which he said was not going to happen. Like, it's not. He did not say, like, he said we can't wait till 2024. But the other thing is that there are two branches that have control over the military, and that is the presidency and Congress. So Speaker of the House has control over the military. So that is that another reason why, in terms of a chessboard, that's a very key position. Okay. All right. Supreme Court case. So the only other thing I have to cover is the Supreme Court case coming out of Provo, Utah. The guy's name is Brunson. And let me pull that up real quick, and then I can talk about it, the details. Hold on. Here it is. Supreme Court is taking up a 2020 election case. This was just posted on 11/16/22. It involves a possible removing of a sitting president and vice president of the United States, along with members of the United States Congress. So here it is. Okay, all the other stuff I've talked about is all possibilities, right? But what did I just say? Did you hear that? This I posted on Telegram on November 16th. Anne Marie Michaels on Telegram. So it says, I'll put a link to it below. 300 This action is against 388 federal officers in their official capacities, which include Mr. B, Camel Toe, Nancy, and Pence. Okay. Um, it is also about the Congress ignoring over 100 claimants on J6 that the election F word. Okay, I can't use that word, but you know what I'm saying. Um, it's about Congress ignoring over 100 claimants. They did not investigate the claim as they should have, and they installed Mr. B. This is under the Constitution. This is treason, and they were aiding the enemy. Okay, well, when the allegations of a F election came forward, they had a duty under law to investigate it or be removed from office. Made it to the docket tonight. This person's posting 11/16/22 that it made it to the docket. So you can go to supremecourt.gov and I'll put the docket PDF of the docket below. Pretty huge, massive, absolutely massive. Okay, who is this guy? Rayland, Ralandj Brunson, petitioner, versus Alma S. Adams. It was filed October 20, 2022. And this guy, oh, sorry, he's from Ogden, Utah. I said Provo. Just interesting because there's Russell Brunson, who is a big, you can look him up. He's ClickFunnels. And so I'm like, is he related? But anyway, he lists all the people in here. Go read it. All the people involved who would be taken out. Fascinating for treason. Okay. This is going to be heard by the Supreme Court. I'm not kidding. I don't know when, but this is a major, major, major boom. Now, understand that the Supreme Court deals with Constitution. So they're talking about Amendment 1, Amendment 9, Amendment 5, Amendment 7, Amendment 14. Okay, so I'm going to read through this whole thing. I might do another video on this because this is massive. I don't know who this guy is, and I'm really curious to learn more about this. I mean, it just sort of passed came on my social media on the 16th. So read through this. I'd love to hear your comments. Again, I'm on all the different socials. I'm going to be a lot more active. That's basically it. I think anybody that's worried right now, if you're worried, don't worry. Don't worry. Research. Follow me. Follow Derek Johnson. Follow David Rodriguez is good. He gets a little nervous, but I still like him. He's awesome. He's funny. There's a lot of people to follow. I'll make a list of people for you guys to follow, but there are enough people out there that telling the truth that, there's too much here, guys. There's too much here for you to worry. If you understand how our government works, this is what Derek Johnson always says. If you understand how the military works, if you understand how our government works, then you understand what's coming. And it's just, there's just no reason for those executive orders to still be there unless they're going to use them. There's just, he would have rescinded them. There's just no reason for what is happening down at the spa. There's just no reason. Go follow Derek Johnson and he's talking about all the military planes flying around. Why is it happening? There's no reason for it unless something's happening, and something is happening. And, another thing somebody brought up is that during Trump's speech the other night, he said, I've kept all my promises. Well, what was the biggest promise that he promised during his campaign? You remember? You'd be in jail. He said he kept all his promises. We just may not have seen it yet. So I am very happy. I know things seem bleak right now. And believe me, for anyone, they're bleak for me because I have to move out of my house. I have lost 99% of my income. I don't know how I'm going to support my kids. But I don't trust in the world and I don't trust in anyone. I trust in God. So I know that I'm going to be taken care of one way or the other. But he called me to speak. I've been told I couldn't speak. I was told by Google in 2019, I was deplatformed. In the summer of 2019, lost 90% of my income. I was told by my own family members, including my own husband, that I couldn't speak um, because it was bad for business. But I'm going to speak. Finally, I get to speak. And I got to tell you, and I want to do a play by play of all this because I'm going to be eating my popcorn. And I think, I think that's what people need. They need information. And, I'm please don't worry about this stuff either. I know you guys are worried. I wish that I could make a whole nother like, spend another hour right now and start walking you through all that I know about that. I am gonna be writing a book. I am working on it already, and I'm gonna be publishing that, and that's what the GiveSendGo is gonna help with. If you're not familiar with GiveSendGo, it's like GoFundMe, but they don't take your money. They don't steal your money from you like they did to the truckers. So I am gonna do that Gibson Go as soon as possibly tomorrow. So go follow me, subscribe here, go follow me on the various socials, and definitely sign up for my email updates. It's free, and you'll be hearing from me very frequently. So I love you guys. I appreciate every single one of you who've been with me on this journey. The haters out there that come on here to say that I'm a crazy, you know what, a non whatever. Um, F off. That's all I can say to you. And anyone that does, you're going to get immediately banned. You're going to get immediately blocked because I have no patience for you whatsoever. None. You guys have put me through hell over the last couple of years, and even people that I know, even my former coworkers. Yeah, when the truth comes out, you'll be apologizing to me, which is what I've said since 2020. I've said you'll apologize to me later, and you will, and you will. Because what I deal in is facts. Facts. These are all facts, everything I've shared with you. And most people don't even know how our government works. They don't. So I don't care what anybody says. Make a comment that's rude, anything I don't like for no reason. I don't even have to give you a reason anymore. For any reason, I'm going to ban you. So be nice. And if you don't agree with what I'm saying, move along. Move along. We have our freedom of speech is the First Amendment for a reason because it is the most important one. And if you can't see that it's been violated, that it's been literally destroyed over the last few years, then you're blind. You're blind, you know? So that's why I'm here and I will be here. And the best is yet to come, guys. All right, that's the end for today. I'll be back tomorrow.